if you have trouble hearing me, my voice is failing me right now. But please all spawn in, head over to the firing range, infantry firing range, and you'll notice a plethora of vehicles in front of you and around you. Don't get in any of them. We're just gonna look for now. So I'm gonna be going over. I'm gonna be to start. I'm gonna explain the difference between an IFE, an APC, and an ICV, and how those should be played in the game of Squad. Then I'm going to go over 3 vehicles, the ZSD-04A from the new PLA, the M283 Bradley from the US, and the Canadian LAV-6. But to start, let's go over the difference between an IFE, an ICV, and an APC. So what you have over here is a number of different vehicles. You have the LAVs, BTRs, and your light vehicles like the BRDM, Striker, and your Tiger type vehicles. So these 3 over here, these LAVs, have different ranges. The ASLAV on the far left is an Australian variant of the LAV-2 or LAV-25. It is a non-amphibious APC with a 25mm autocannon. It shares a lot of similarities between these 2 other vehicles, these being the LAV-25 and Coyote. The Coyote is a Canadian version of the LAV-2, and the LAV-25 is the Marine version. The LAV-25 is amphibious, has a 25mm Bushmaster autocannon. It has a M240 for the 4th seat and can carry infantry. 6. The Coyote is a recon vehicle, thoroughbred. It has an M240 for the 4th seat, same autocannon, bit more ammo than the LAV-25, and it cannot carry infantry. The ASLAV misses the M240, however, it can carry nearly a full squad. Then you got your BTRs. Now, I'm not going to go over all of these, I just want to go through these. Those 3 vehicles I just talked about, 2 of them, the LAV-25 and the ASLAV, are APCs. The one in the middle, the Coyote, cannot carry infantry. It is a ICV, an infantry combat vehicle. Few other vehicles fit that role, including the LAV-6, which we'll go over later. Then you got your BTRs. BTR-82A, 30mm autocannon, can carry infantry. However, it does not have that much armor, so it fits the APC class. BTR-80 has an unstable...
Let's get closer to Minehead. We can see what he's talking about, and then you guys can ask questions as you see it closer whenever he prompts for questions. Go ahead, Minehead. Sorry to interrupt.
Any questions about the LAV? Sorry.
So in squad, just for my own edification, in squad, if it doesn't carry infantry, someone might call it an IFE, but in your heart, no, it's not an IFE. It's a ICV or other acronym.
Yeah. So these 2 vehicles here, the BTRs, they're both built off the same amphibious chassis and carry 7 infantry. The BTR-82A has a 30mm autocannon. The BTR-80 over here has a 14.5 unstabilized gun. This is the most common variant found in game, the BTR-82A. The BTR-80 can be found on the insurgent and militia teams as well as the Russian team. If you direct yourselves back here, we have the Striker with an M240. You can also get a variant with a 50 cal. It has a Crow's version. It can carry 8 infantry and it has a 2 crew member capability. It is a thoroughbred APC. So here's your 50 cal version. It is on par with the BTR, as it has low armor, can be penetrated by a 50 cal to the sides. The BTR can be penetrated to the 50 cal all around. This one can be penetrated by 14.5 to the front. Any questions about Striker and BTRs? Oh, all right. Over here, we have the M113 found in the Canadian team or Canadian faction. It has a number of different variants. However, it is a thoroughbred 1960s Cold War APC. Carries, I think, 12 infantry, or maybe it's 8. I don't know how it's done in game. Has 1 crew member for the driver. This is the ZBL-08 for the new... So there's 2 variants of this. The ZBL-08 for the new PLA. It is an amphibious APC. However, if you come here, you come to the side over here, as you can see better, you'll notice these 2 ATGMs on either side, which can be fired instantaneously and are the same ATGMs found in the BMP-1. This is an IFE, that's one I'm standing on. The variant behind you misses those ATGMs and fits the role of an APC. Both have a 30mm gun, which does minimal damage to other vehicles. They have practically no armor. This also fits the role of the IFE, because in squad IFEs have a definition of having an ammunition rack. This one has an ammunition rack and can be ammo racked by almost anything, including the light lats. This one does not have that ammunition rack. This is another variant of the ZBL, however this one has a 50 cal with a fully enclosed gunner seat. Here we have a thoroughbred recon vehicle. This is combat vehicle recon. This is the CVRT, the Scimitar. It has a 30mm Rardin found on the Warrior, unstabilized, 3 seats, one for the commander, gunner, and the driver. This gun here, the Rardin, highest DPS gun in the game. Although it is unstabilized, it can be used very effectively on other vehicles. Last but certainly not least, we have the Bulldog. The Bulldog is the British APC. It has 1 crew member and an open top 50 cal or a Crow's M240. Can carry 9 people and has the highest side armor in the game with a pleek armor on the side. You can see it here. This sort of shelf is also found in the AAV. Bao is making me run all the way over here by spawning new stuff.
You can give the short versions if you want. To me, it's blowing my mind seeing how some of these are the same vehicle, and in my head I thought they were different vehicles.
The
And you guys know
MTLB,
me.
sorry, the
No, go ahead.
MTLB double tracked 8 crew. It can come with a different, thank you, a very different variants. One with the 50 cal 14.5 found on other side. Some even get the BTR 82A's 30mm gun. As Bartok said, yes, this is the shitbox. It's amphibious, penned by 50 cal on all sides. Here we have the BMP-1. This is well considered to be the first infantry fighting vehicle. A 78mm gun, a Malyutka ATGM, similar found to the ones of the ZBL-08. It's amphibious, can carry 8 infantry, although in the real life it can only carry 6. It has 3 crew members, a commander, a gunner, and a driver. It's unstabilized and is well considered to be one of the worst IFEs in the game. However, if played right, it can be extremely effective. Here's its bigger brother, the BMP-2. In game, this is the top Russian IFE. It has a 30mm autocannon, which can fire extremely fast. It's amphibious, can carry 8 people, has 3 seats, a stabilized commander seat, a driver seat, and a gunner seat. Can instantly switch between all rounds and can switch to a Conquerors ATGM, which it gets 4 of. Here is the Bradley, which we will go over later more in depth. The Bradley is the U.S. top IFE. It's very large. It can carry, I think, 8 infantry as well, or maybe it's 6. It has 3 seats. Gets a 25mm Bushmaster found on the LAVs. It has a driver, commander, and a gunner. It has 2 tow missiles, which it can deploy from the gunner seat. However, unlike the BMP, it cannot deploy them infantry, and it takes about 2 seconds for them to move to full ready. Here we have the FE510 Warrior. These are Cold War APCs. There's 2 variants, the UA and the normal one. The UA gets us a pleek armor on the side, which can stop most lat rounds in this game and only diminishes their effect. It has a 30mm Rardin gun, highest DPS gun in the game. Unstabilized, has 3 seats, very good optics. This is its larger brother. In game for balancing, this is the CTAS. Oh, I'm sorry, one thing. The 30mm guns found on almost any APC cannot, any Russian or Chinese APC cannot go through the front of this. Here's the CTAS 40. It has a 40mm autocannon and can kill most tanks from the side. It has good mobility, it's stabilized, great optics, 3 seats, can carry 8 infantry. Similar to the Warrior, same chassis, different gun, different turret. This is another vehicle. I don't know why Spow is spawning tanks. I'm not going to go over tanks. This is another vehicle that we're going to go over. This is ZSD-04A. This is the brand new Chinese APC. It has, you'll notice, if everyone come here to see it, hop on. You'll notice it has 3 guns. It has a coaxial and 6.8, a coaxial 30mm autocannon, and a 100mm gun. It has 12 100mm HE rounds, which it can fire independently from its 30mm. Good for killing infantry in close spaces. On top of this, it is similar to the BMP. It's low armor. It's amphibious. That has 3 crew members can carry 8 infantry. It also gets 4 ATGMs, which can kill tanks. However, they're majorly ineffective. Now, I've gone over a lot of vehicles, but let's get into the ones I'm going to look over. If you come over here.
Is there any questions at a high level of what Minehay covered? He covered a lot of the same similar things between each of these, but is there any questions before we dive deep?
Probably super stupid and basic, but can you kind of quickly summarize the difference between IFV and APC?
Of course, I definitely forgot to do that. The IFE is an infantry fighting. Thank you, an infantry fighting vehicle. Its main goal is to carry small amounts of infantry and then stay with them to engage other targets. Most of the time, it's slower, has larger armor and a larger gun. APCs are meant to be more battle taxis. Some are meant to stay and fight. Those are called ICVs. However, those battle taxis can survive a few hits from lighter armor, light AT in game, of course, and can carry you to the battlefield in high numbers. So the Bradley here. Bartok, can you get in and start streaming?
Yeah.
Alright, so Bartok is going to show you, if you direct yourselves to Discord, the optic that this Bradley has and how it can be used. So the M283 Bradley, 25mm Bushmaster here, gets two tow 2As, gets a third seat for the commander, a surprisingly good optic, carry 8 infantry. The way this thing ends up being played is that it's large and slow, so it should be used as more as a long-range engager. Its gun is high damage, however, and its armor's pretty good. However, any hit from an ATGM will likely knock it out the fight. It has a frontally based engine, and if you direct yourself to Discord, I'll show you these optics. Now, I'm not going to go too in-depth like I did if you were there for the tank workshop, however, you'll notice there's a number of different options. It has a stabilizer. It has 5 options as well. It has a armor-piercing discarding sabot round, an APDS, which you'll use for most armored vehicles. It has an HEI round, high explosive incendiary, which you'll use for infantry and some light vehicles like Logis. It has an M240 used for infantry. It's coax. It has two 40mm smoke grenade launchers. Well, not two, it is like 16, but it has 2 volleys of them, which it can fire and deploy smoke in front of itself. Then it has 2 tow missiles, which it can deploy. As you'll notice, it takes a bit for them to deploy. They're wire-guided missiles and can be used to destroy most tanks and most IFVs. So if you could show them the optic for the APDS.
Yep.
So you notice at the bottom of your screen, you'll see the numbers going up. In the center of your screen, there's a line in the center of the optic. It is a very large line, has no numbers next to it. That is where the laser rangefinder looks. If you put that down on any target, you'll see how far it is. From there, you can adjust using the range. On the right is your AP range, and on the left is your HE range. You'll see that at the top. For the tow missile, you lose this, and it will just be a flat line like this. However, it has great zoom, which will allow you to magnify your targets a lot easier. Any questions about this?
Someone in my squad asked what the max range for tows are.
It's about 2,000 meters in game. After 2,000 meters, they will start to drop off and just slam into the ground. So this is a thoroughbred IFE in game and should be played as such. At longer ranges, this thing can take most lat rounds to the front and side. It can mostly deal with most Russian and Chinese APCs and IFEs of the east, considering its good armor allows it to tank most of their rounds. Front engined, if all of you direct yourselves in game and walk over to this side with me. This thing can be ammo racked. I went to the wrong side, my apologies. If you look right here, right where I'm firing, there's an ammo rack, which it can be ammo racked from. Again, this is a pure definition in game for an IFE. It can also be ammo racked from the front, so aiming for the left side of the hull will allow you to ammo rack it. However, the ammo rack is low and small. Compared to other vehicles, which I'll go over later, it's actually quite small. Any questions at all about the Bradley? Like, you want me to go over how they're played, all this, all that? It's up to you to ask me that.
Did you want to go through all 3 first, or do you want to do like a 5-minute track half and go to the next one?
So we're gonna go over all 3 vehicles first. So this is the purebred IFE. It is, to be played as such. It's slow, bulky, it's large. However, you can use it at range to deal with most infantry and armored vehicles. This is the LAV-6. This is the most modern version of the LAV over there. It has 4 crew seats, one with a ride-along gunner, a stabilized commander sight which looks basically forward, driver's sight, and a gunner seat. This is the same gun as the Bradley, 25mm Bushmaster. However, its advantages and disadvantages are very clear. I do not consider this an IFV. I consider this an ICV. As far as wheeled vehicles go, this is the highest armor wheeled vehicle in the game. It is side-based applique armor to stop most lat shots, meaning lats are extremely ineffective against this. It lacks an ammo rack, meaning it does not fit the in-game definition of an IFV. However, I feel it should be included here. It has a few disadvantages though. Although it's speedy, it has wheels. It has 8 of them, and after 4 are destroyed, it will no longer be able to move as fast. Sorry.
You're good.
The wheel is shot out by infantry, so it has that disadvantage. It is non-amphibious. It has the same amount of smoke grenades, 2 volleys of 40mm smoke, which it can put in front of itself. However, this thing has a bit of a quirk. If you notice the laser rangefinder, Bartok, throw it as far as you can. Like, the laser rangefinder has purely infinite range. Now the hills over there don't render, however, I've taken this on a number of maps like Talil, Manic, and that, and it doesn't. And you'll notice the laser rangefinder can range infinitely, unless they patch that, which they might have. However, it can range farther than tanks, which their max ranging is 1,200 meters.
And it's not ranging because those aren't actual assets. Those are just the end of the map, right?
Possibly. It might have patched it, which would be disappointing. But pull forward into the furthest optic, Bartok, of
This
the
is the
APDS.
Yep,
APDS.
yep.
Direct yourself in game. You'll notice where Bartok is looking at that middle point is where the laser rangefinder ends, and that's where you should be looking to range things. At the far left, you'll notice your range for your HE. That'll be your HEI. Excuse me. This is the same amount of rounds as the same type of rounds as the Bradley APDS and HEI, as well as an M240 coax. Then you'll have your MG. This allows you to range with your MG due to having an MG range. So if they're too far to range with your laser rangefinder, which is unlikely, you can range with your MG up to 800 meters. So then you have your AP. AP is titled as FS. FA is, I'm not sure. However, your AP is mostly FS. So this optic, while it looks confusing, is actually quite simple. You don't really have to use anything towards the past where the laser rangefinder mark is. It's relatively simple. Now, this vehicle should be played less in range. You can use its speed to your advantage. It can drop off infantry and stay and fight with them, and then move around to flank and attack enemy armored vehicles with ease. While it can't sustain fights with most other IFVs, most APCs will win with ease, as it is surprisingly well armored, having more armor than a BMP does. Has about 1,750 hit points, while the BMP with all variants, the BMP having 1,250. There's one more vehicle we're gonna go over. Now this one I'm gonna spend a lot more time on. It's not over here. So we're going over the ZSD 04A, which was the new IFV added with the PLA faction. So again, we've gone over how this is 2 types of guns, the 30mm and the 100mm, and it has a large amount of seating. So this optic is actually quite confusing. Due to Chinese doctrine, this has 3 zoom modes, and at the longest zoom mode, you will not be able to use anything except for the 30mm. Now, Bartok, zoom all the way in.
Yeah, just gonna turn around so we can see it.
As you'll notice, you can only use the 30mm targeted by the 30. Now that caret in the middle is your range finding mark. You can use it to engage infantry and all that. If you zoom out all the way, see the full optic, zoom in twice, just once. Alright, so to your left is your 5.8, got it wrong. So instead of 6.5, sorry, it's a 5.8mm coaxial. You also have 2 volleys of 40mm smoke grenades. You have, on your right, the 100mm gun. So the 4 is 400 meters. The top line in the middle is 0 meters away. So In this second zoom, you'll be able to engage infantry targets with a 100mm gun. This is a stabilized gun with, which has the 100mm gun has 2 rounds it can fire. If you go to those, it has the high explosive frag round, gets quite a few of. However, 22 of. I guess that changed. Which are high cost as far as realm crest go. However, it gets tons of them, and they can basically a tank round. It also gets 4 ATGMs, or 3, sorry. Now the disadvantage of the ATGMs here, they are not good. They are actually terrible. They cannot kill most tanks, even the T-62 from the side it won't kill. Can't ammo rack most IFVs or kill most IFVs, meaning that your best bet is gonna be to use them either never or on APCs. For the 30 mil is low damage, similar to the BMP2. It's got a relatively low fire rate for other Chinese IFVs, however, is up there as far as fire rate goes. Now, this vehicle is built off the BMP3 concept, however, it doesn't have the same chassis, but OWI's put it in a way it has the same amount of health. So it's amphibious and 1250 HP. And if you come over here to the front, I want everyone to see this. This vehicle can be ammo racked. Bottom left there can be ammo racked. If you come over here just below the turret, about in the same spot, it can be ammo racked right there. So if you hit there on the bottom left side of the turret, you'll knock out the engine and then the ammo rack proceeding. Now, this thing should be used as purebred infantry fighting. It has a 100mm gun, making it exceptional at the job of fighting infantry. For most urban maps, this thing can be used to engage infantry at higher ranges and with more accuracy. As well as a tank, similar to a tank would. However, it's a lot faster than a tank and a lot more versatile with its amphibious capabilities. And while yeah,
I thought you were done. I just got a really
oh no,
good
it's all good. It's all good.
question.
What's the question?
Someone asked, what does ammo racking mean?
Ammo racking. So similar to tanks in this game, IFVs can be ammo racked, meaning the ammo is stored there. If ammo is shot in this game, it will either lead to an explosion or an ammo racking animation. For IFVs, an explosion will happen. It is effectively a way to quickly kill the IFV by hitting them in the ammo. Ammo racking it will mean the IFV crew will not be able to fire back, and it will also mean that they will burn out and die. On tanks, it means that they'll have 0 ammunition once ammo, and they will start to burn out. Some tanks like the T-72 and T-62, it will just cause an explosion or a special animation, which will cause an ammo rack. For all IFVs, it's just a faster way to drop the health points of an IFV.
Is cooking a thing in this game?
You mean cooking off?
Yeah, where like it's been ammo racked. There's a big fire in there. And then
Yes,
if you get
that
up
is.
close to it, it'll pop off. That's what burning off is.
Yeah, for tanks, tanks can cook off. They have a special animation for it. However, the IFVs will just explode.
Julio.
Any questions
So-
about? Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, is there like a chart or something that would show us where all these are? Because there's
Um,
no way to remember this.
As far as you can, on Jensen's range, there's a number of things sitting by the hangars, which will show you most of the IFVs in the game. China has sadly not been added to that. However, there's you can talk about the wet armored guys. They have guides for all these vehicles. You can check yourself. Or when they're added, you can look. As far as HP and other things go, after I'm done, I'll post a document in this channel, which will have, yeah, Bartok, if you want to. So go to Bartok stream, but when this is done, I will show you in a document, which will show you all the HP, damage outputs, and all that for all vehicles in this game. So everyone, alert yourself to Bartok stream. He'll show you all 3 vehicles and where their ammo racks are.
Go ahead, Bartok.
Yeah, so if you guys watch my live stream on Jensen's range, by like the entrance of all the vehicles, you can find models of most of the vehicles, and then you see the armor plates, and also you'll see the ammo of it. So on this, I don't know how to say it, this plaque or whatever, you can see the different values of armor, where it's hardest to hit, as my name was going through, and also where like the red inside these vehicles are where the ammo is stored. So from an from an anti-tank point of view, that's like where you want to hit. It's a critical hit. It does massive damage with less resources put in. But it's hard to hit. You have to know where to hit. So if you're ever wondering like where to shoot them, as Mine said, it's either go hero look, or we'll post some links in this channel so you guys can like get a more in-depth view of it as well. And yeah, and Minus will describe it more better.
Also, there's the Pracat portion, and Minehey will be able to watch how you're engaging each vehicle and give you feedback, so you can kind of get some real life practice.
Okay, my voice is dying here, but so let's move on to the bracket part. We have 15 people. I don't know how many Bradleys we have. We're gonna have to take turns by squad. So firstly, squad one, bow squad, load up into it. Everyone load up into your own Bradley if you're in squad one. If you're not in squad one, take a step back. Don't stand in front of these. They'll definitely kill you. You can also feel welcome to hop in the commander seat or admin cam to take a look from yourselves. For squad one, you have free range to kill any target you see in front of you. You can use what I learned. You can not use it. It's up to you. Use the toes. Anything you want to do to engage it. Try not to fire smoke because it will definitely impair everyone else using a Bradley. So.
All right. So let's go ahead and have a Bravo. Just by all means, weapons free, and Charlie as well. You guys can both open up. We'll give it about 1 or 2 minutes. Minehey will watch what you guys are doing, and then he'll interrupt, give some feedback, a few more, and then we'll switch squads. But go ahead.
Oh, if there's anyone that's not able to go into admin cam, it's left shift P, or you can watch my live stream as I am myself currently in admin cam.
What is the two situations, Minehey or someone that you select, like Bartok? When is the situation you would want to use the AP versus the high explosives incinerary? Because I feel like I get that wrong every time.
AP, any armor piece you might see, anything you see in front of you, if you see that, use AP. If you see a tank or another IFV, which we've gone over, use the tow missile. For the HEI, infantry or light vehicles like logistics vehicles or transports, you can use the HEI.
Alright guys, go ahead and hold fire, hold fire. Minehey, do you want to give any feedback on what you saw? Have squad 2 hop, or squad 3 hop in, etc.?
I mean, not really. I mean, a lot of these vehicles are, it's not super dependent on where you shoot them. The IFVs, it helps to shoot them in the ammo rack, but doesn't kill them all too much faster. The damage you do with your 25 mil is good. However, the fire rate is bad, so you're gonna get out fire rated by pretty much anything you see in front of you except for a warrior. So your goal in a Bradley is to use its effective armor and its tow missiles in range to engage stuff at range. You don't ever want to get shot first in an IFE. That's how you should be playing something like this. You'll see check engaged the CSD we went over with the tow. That is effectively what you want to do. Any IFE you see, it's good to engage the tow first. So on some vehicles it's easier, but with the Bradley you have that 2 seconds of getting the launcher out. So you always want to leave yourself that time. You never want to be seen first. That is the whole goal of the Bradley. As far as, if you couldn't hear me earlier, as far as using AP and HEI, AP, any vehicle you see in front of you, use AP. Infantry or logis or transports, use HEI.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So HEI for weak targets, AP for heavier targets, and then if you can one tap with a tow, do it.
Yeah. Squad 3, Squad 1 if you want to dismount. Squad 3 if you want to hop into the Bradleys, give them a shot. Then we're gonna move on to the Squad 4, and then when we're done with that, we'll move on to the
Looks
LAV.
like both 3 and 4, there's enough for you guys to both hop in, so 3 and 4 can hop in.
Right, sweet. I'm gonna grab some water really fast.
Yeah. You guys are weapons free.
Yeah, I keep going.
Some feedback on what you saw everyone doing, and then have an opportunity for questions. You guys don't have to dismount yet.
Yeah, I was grabbing water. Man, everyone did fine. Again, there's no real way to judge how you're hitting from my current point of view. It's really just how it affects in game. For one, I noticed they're a lot tankier than something like a BCR would be. But their fire rate's slower and the DPS may be higher. It's just that they have their disadvantages. So again, a lot of the parts about IFVs you gotta learn about is just the soft stuff, so you can learn how to effectively fight them. Same with tanks. Effectively fighting your target is about knowing your target as much as you know yourself. So you gotta play your vehicle in a way which can effectively fight the enemy's vehicle. So before a game, you're gonna hop in armor, check what the enemy has, and figure out how you want to play to effectively fight that.
Okay, I'll see you guys later.
On the Bradley optic, can you explain what these kind of vertical converging lines are?
1 second.
The lines are about spread. Your round spread will be shorter at that distance. However, it doesn't apply in game.
Ah, okay, thank you.
Bartok makes a really good point. A lot of the vehicles have limited ammo. For instance, the LAV 25s, 2s we went over earlier, very low amount of AP, means they're very ineffective at fighting most armored vehicles, as they can kill one armored vehicle but will need to rearm afterwards. The LAV 6 fixes that issue, having large amount of AP. The Bradley, I'm not entirely sure how much AP it has, however the gun itself, you also have the tow as well as the gun itself being relatively high damage. For stuff like the Warrior, you have a magazine you have to reload, and you'll have to reload it every 4 rounds, and then you'll be stuck. You only have about 20 magazines. For the CTAS, you have nearly 100 continuous rounds of 40mm. Stuff like the BTR and BMP have tons of rounds to fire. However, their damage output is extremely bad, meaning you're gonna have to rearm after 1 kill, possibly.
Alright, let's have squad 3 and 4 take all of yours and bring them out into the firing range. Turn on the engines, drive them out to the firing range, add to the piles of bodies. And then let's have squad 1. My name, did you want to go... Which vehicle do you want to do next?
Let's go with the LAV next.
Alright, squad 1, if you guys want to grab the LAVs. Alright guys, go ahead and grab the lab and line them up.
Killing me. Squad 1, if you want to go grab all the LAV. Maxwell, if you want to drive your Bradley out into the firing range, they'll be used as targets.
you guys have any questions so far, there's quite a bit of people here with a lot of knowledge, such as, you know, Minehey, Bartok, Crick, and others. So if you guys have questions, this is the time.
Alright,
an
for all
engine on.
those who are on the firing range, I would suggest you get off it. If you need to, just shift B out of there. You can use that to teleport around. Cause just don't.
It doesn't work in here.
It doesn't? I thought it does.
No, I tried
It's
it.
been a
Okay.
No,
Well,
you'll pop back where you were.
Everyone on the range just respawn. So
Yeah. So, don't fire just yet, I'll tell you when you can. But, so the optics, while they look confusing, are relatively simple. The line at the top is 0 meters. From there, you should be able to range it yourself because the AP has very high velocity, meaning that it doesn't drop as far, so you'll notice it's actually very easy to engage targets within 1,000 meters. The optic zoom is not amazing. However, this LAV fixes a lot of the issues the LA2 has. It has more ammo as well as higher damage. It has better armor, having 1750 as gotten over earlier. The side applique armor makes it very resistant to most light anti-tank weapons. Again, it's extremely fast compared to other IFVs with its 8-wheel configuring. It can run off 6 wheels. However, after losing 4 wheels, it just will barely be able to move and have to crawl along. That's about it. This is an ICV again, not an IFV. Has no ammo rack, and while it can win fights with almost any APC, it will struggle to beat other IFVs like the Bradley BMP, ZSD, and Warriors. So let's say range is hot, so make sure to stay behind the vehicles.
before we fire, I have a question for everyone in here. Everyone knows how to aim, right, with vehicles. That it's not the right-click mouse. It's usually Q default.
If you need help with it, top right of your screen, it'll tell you how to zoom and all that. But range is hot. Feel free to start firing whenever.
He does almost nothing to the Bradley by hitting its front arm.
Do you want me to go rearm this?
Hold on, hold fire. Notice this Bradley, center of the massive stack of fire. That means your ammo racked it. And it will now explode. After ammo racking, there'll be a bit of flame around the turret ring, and following that, just don't even bother firing again. The vehicle will explode. The people inside the vehicle will no longer be able to use any of the ammunition to them prior. Y'all can continue now.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up, Jones?
Are the BTR 80s tires bulletproof?
Yes, the BTR
They can't be taken out by MGs?
Yeah, BTR 80 uses armored tires.
Okay.
I ran this out of AP. Do you want me to go refill it though?
However, they are not 50 caliber. If you all notice the puff of smoke when he fired at that warrior, that meant the warrior was engined. There started to sound a bit and a large puff of smoke at where the engine does the same on every other vehicle in the game. Everything from lodges to tanks.
Let's go and swap it out then. So squad 1 can hop out, squad 3 and 4 can hop in, and let's try to reproduce what Minehey was just talking about of the different types of damage done to a vehicle. So Minehey, if you want to call out a specific vehicle, and then people can pay attention as they hit it, whatever you feel best.
Bart, you wanna give it a shot? Can you spawn in the BMP2 close on the range? Alright. 2 of them, please. I hold fire.
Question on the optic again. You said that FS is basically the AP round ranging.
Yeah, I'm not sure what FA is. As far as I can tell, it's meant to fit the 2 separate rounds the LAV would be using. FS meaning fin stabilize, and FA meaning something else.
Sure. So the first dot represents 500 meters. That's like what you would line up for 500 meter ranging. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Okay. Thank
Yeah. As you can see, it's a high velocity round, and mostly won't matter too much what the ranging says. You should be able to range yourself after the first 2 shots.
Got it. Thanks.
So I can't show you too well, but the BMP2's weak spot is on the left side of the hull. Firing frontally left side of the hull will most likely kill the engine, following by ammo racking the vehicle. See where Bartok's running. On the side, the ammo rack is on the left side, is on the right, facing if you were the gunner, the BMP. On the right side of the hull, underneath the turret, is the ammo rack. It flies up to the gun. It is relatively tall. The BMP2, while having a high fire rate, has very low health. It can't be penned by 50 cal from the front due to its slope, but from the sides, all round, it is very vulnerable to it. Your Bushmasters should be able to tear through them. Now, BMP1 is the same. It's the same on the ZSD, as they are all counted as the same chassis. Although they are different. Oh. I can't best show you the damage, because I'm not in a vehicle. However, Albert, could you fire at the rightmost Russian BMP Bartok is standing next to, at the left side of the hull? That's okay. That's engine. You see engine out.
And if you see in my live stream, you can see as a driver point of view, you have all the different compartments. So you in the middle, like you have your speed, of course, and under that you have your health bar. To the right of it, you have whichever, like the gyroscope and the e-brake above it. And to the right of there again, that's the engine. As you see, you hit it enough times, so it's blacked out. I can no longer drive this vehicle. To the right of there is the tracks. And if we go all the way to the left, the one that looks like a turret is the turret, and the one to the left of that again is the ammunition.
You fire a few more rounds to the same spot, please, Albert. If you're in the admin cam, you can slowly see his health ticking away. At most, Albert is firing very slowly. If you notice it at a higher speed, it will relatively do damage to the BMP, putting it there. That there means it's on fire, means that crew will have to dismount and repair to put it out. Now, ammo racking a vehicle from the front, most, the LAV will struggle to do it. However, it's best to still shoot to the same spot, as there's a small chance it will do it. From the side, it is a lot easier. For instance, this MEC BMP, it has its side to you, Max. Can you fire to where the, directly in front of you, could you fire to where the ammunition would be?
No, okay.
So, where you're
aim about where I have my gun.
That's where the ammunition would be. So from the side, it'd be a lot. You also notice, if it's very hard to see from where your angle is, but he over-penetrated. He actually hit the LAV, the wreck of the LAV. I show him the BMP does not have good armor, and is very, very low armor, in fact. The lowest of any IFV. Let's do it. So where you fire fired, you were firing a bit back, that's fine. You're firing towards the troop compartment. You can actually kill infantry if they are mounted in vehicles. You just have to fire at them. And after a certain point of health, when a BMP would have lost maybe 70%, that's different for all vehicles, you'll start killing infantry inside. However, the crewmen will always stay alive, except on 2 vehicles, the ZBL, which we went over earlier, the gunner can be, the driver can be shot out, and on the M113, the driver can be shot out. Alright, y'all are clear to engage anything you want. Which I don't know which squad is currently using the vehicles, but can they hop out and give it to the squad 1?
I mean, all squads has gone through them, but yeah.
Have they?
Yeah,
Squad
squad 1
1
first,
used
and
to.
then
Oh,
squad
my
2, squad
bad.
3
Yeah, we
did it
went
combined.
My apologies. So just one mention. The ZS. Let's move the LAVs. We'll use them as targets now, and we're gonna move. But really quickly, any questions?
Yes, get all the vehicles out into the range. And then, is there any questions? If there's something in Discord to your squad leader, let's make sure we can get those questions heard. Squad 1, go and grab the Chinese.
Where's the ammo rack on the
Get
ZBO?
those up on
Or the
So I just gotta
Chinese
go over
version?
that. So
For
the
sure.
ZBL08, the wheeled vehicle, when it has the ATGMs, the ammo rack is again on the left side of the hull, very low down in the hull below the turret. It's similar to that on the ZSD, which is basically the same spot.
Yeah, guys, good.
Okay.
Left as if you were looking at it. If you're in it, it would be on the right side.
Okay.
Alright, yeah. Squad 1, go grab the ZSDs and bring them to the firing range. We'll be using them as our next practice vehicle. So the guns we just used, both the LAV and the Bradley used the same gun, the Bushmaster 25mm. So this is going to be a bit different sounding and feeling. Get used to the sound it makes when you're outside of it. It will help you recognize vehicles when you're infantry. The 100mm, however, does sound exactly like any tank, so it is a bit confusing. However, the 30mm is completely unique on this vehicle. For those who just brought their LAVs out, just respawn. While these guys get their ZSD set up.
Are there any variations, Minehey, of these that you want to have spawned? Because I realize I only spawned one. I don't know if there are variation.
Yeah, you just spawn some Bradleys and LAVs.
Oh no, I meant of the current one that we're gonna be
Oh
shooting.
no, they're all these are the same.
Okay.
You give me a second here. I'm gonna drink some water.
Almost.
All right. Does everyone in squad 1 have a vehicle? All right. Assume that's a yes. Clear range hot.
Yeah.
So everyone get behind these vehicles. Don't be beside them. The 100mm will kill you.
So what is that? You can't stand in front of a vehicle? Overpressure is a real thing?
Yeah. So for this vehicle, just to quickly go over the optic again, you cannot use the 100mm. Well, you can, but you cannot. It's very hard to use the 100mm and range it while all the way zoomed in. Meaning you're gonna wanna. You can only use the 30mm while zoomed in. The coax ranging and 100mm ranging are only the 2x version of the 2x zoom of the optic. This vehicle, very good infantry support vehicle, very bad at killing armored vehicles of its class of IFE. I don't know. Its gun, very very low damage gun, cannot penetrate through engines, meaning front engine vehicles. You cannot ammo rack them from the front. The 100 mil cannot kill vehicles. Although it gets an ATGM, the ATGM is very low damage and will struggle to kill other IFVs, let alone even tanks. I remember, to give an example of how bad the ATGM is, I was fighting a T-62, had its side. We fired 3 ATGMs at it, and it did not even take enough damage to engine it. The 100 mil is auto loading. It loads every 2 seconds. So every 2 seconds you can fire another round of the 100 mil. I might be wrong on that figure. I know in real life it's 1.2 seconds, but I know they nerfed it in game. 30 mil is continuous belt, so won't have to reload. Nice job, Bao. But yeah, range is hot. Feel free to engage anything. Have any questions? If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
You want a heli to fly around for practice? I'll hop on the
We're good.
helis.
We're good for now. Just want to give
Sure.
opportunities to shoot and step up.
Hold fire. If you listen to the gun, check, can you fire like 3 rounds of the 30 mil?
Yeah, it sounds like a bass drum.
Yeah, it has a very low popping noise. It's kind of similar to the ZBL, which the Chinese also have. However, that's popping noise is a lot easier to hear on the ZBL. Check if you fire again, please. You can sort of hear it, but yeah, try and get familiar with that sound, so you can recognize this vehicle, as it can be a pain for infantry to combat it. Anyways, you can keep firing. At range, the vehicle will sound like just straight up popping. Of the metallic sound of the gun, at range it just sounds purely like popping.
Switch to the other squads can fire it.
Yeah, feel free to dismount 3 and 4. You can hop in and get to see what it's like to fire these. Anyone from squad 1 have any questions? Actually, any squad. Anyone have any questions? Anything at all? Alright, well,
There are no stupid questions, so don't be afraid to
Yeah.
ask.
No, but thank you for going over all this.
yeah, it's no problem. Yep, thank you.
And I do want to know what is the standard rock, paper, scissors for when you don't kill every single vehicle. When should you run and when should you fight? But I'll wait till the end for that.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention about the LAV. The LAV-6, you can't shoot behind you. You'll end up shooting yourself because OWI doesn't know how the armored vehicles work. Anyways, y'all are free to fire. For those in cam, if you fly back to where I am, you'll hear the vehicles and how they sound at range. So I want to say this is just 3 out of maybe 20 IFVs in the game. I would love to go over all of them, but I chose these because I could only go over so many. So I grabbed a brand new one everyone loves. If you have any questions, let it. I can answer them here.
Do you have any
If-
resources that explain the sighting and how to do the ranging? Because I still seem to be kind of getting like ranging sometimes.
Yeah.
I'd go
It's
over
a
the
very-
barrel center.
Yeah, it's a very confusing thing. However, for most IFVs, barrel center does not exist on all of them except for British IFVs, where it will tell you vehicles that are 15 meters away shoot here. But yeah, so for the so for almost all vehicles that we went over, the barrel is off center to the gunner sights, meaning you'll be firing either a bit to the right or left at close ranges. For the ZSD, the 100 mil is centered to the gunner sight. However, the 30 mil is offset to the right, and it's a bit below. But for the ZSD, the optic, again, 0 meters is the line at the top. And at the far right is your 100 mil. 4 is 400. Far left is your coax. The caret in the middle, like the upside, the echelon, that is where you should look to find range. Any other questions? You can practice in your own time, of course, at Jensen's. You can grab the CSD off the PLA, Jensen's training range. But yeah, any other questions?
What's the rock paper scissors for just vehicles in general? You know, if they have tracks and they're medium size, run away if you're this.
For vehicles, it is completely just knowledge is key as far as vehicles go. Not knowing a vehicle is probably one of the worst things that can happen in any situation, give or take. But the general census is if you're in a tracked vehicle, if you're in a tracked IFV, any wheeled vehicle is free game for you. Feel free to engage it. You'll probably win that fight. However, if you're in a tracked IFV, be wary engaging other tracked vehicles. If you can't recognize them, it's best to just get on the flank, engage them cautiously. But for the LAV, one thing I would say is play like you're scared, because oftentimes you're gonna lose a fight head on. So play to get on the flank, get behind them, play like you're scared. Any other questions? Sorry.
Can you repeat his question?
His question was rock paper scissors. Essentially, if you see a vehicle that was, if you don't know the vehicle you're fighting, should you engage it based on this attribute? Essentially, any wheeled vehicle. If you're in a tracked IFV, any wheeled vehicle is free game. Go for it. If you're in a tracked vehicle, you don't recognize the tracked vehicle you're fighting. Play it cautious. But as far as for vehicles like the LAV, which is wheeled, play like you're scared. Try and get on flanks. Keep your distance, because you're likely going to lose a fight against most other vehicles.
If you can flank it, if you can maneuver, do so. It's gonna save you health and it's gonna save you ammo if you can hit it in weak spots. So if you can, move on it. If not, yeah, do what mine says.
Bow rings up a good point. I didn't cover driving them, but I'm going to do that really, really fast. For the LAV, any wheeled vehicle, it's very similar. You can't pivot it on point. However, It's extremely fast and agile for both the Bradley and the any tracked vehicle in this game, really. They sort of act like boats. They pull to the right for some reason, but they do. You're gonna have to react to that. However, you can pivot them in spot, and it makes them kind of difficult to drive and get them center. However, at distances and sitting still, it's a bit easier to drive. You can go ahead and drive around now just to get a feel for it. But my voice is quite literally going to die, so Bartok, can you really, really fast go over how to avoid how to use distance and all that?
Yeah, so shortly from a perspective, for me, I don't like to use vehicles that much. I personally prefer to build them up. So if you love to use vehicles, what you need to be wary of is urban fighting, and like let's say you're stationed up on a hill, far away from the field. Just have someone in your commander view, or at least someone just now and then checking behind you to see if, like, let's say you're fighting the INS, they have bikes and stuff, so they will always come at you with ID bikes or like a lat or a hat flanking you. So what you want to avoid is like urban fighting and hills that they can hide behind. You kind of want to have like an open ground between you and whatever closest cover, so it gets hard for them. And for most normal matches, anything further than like 500 meters, I would say 400 to 500 meters, you are reasonably safe. Most people are not going to hit those shots. So, but if you want to be extra safe, I recommend to be at least 600 if you have the line of sight, because no normal AT asset can range out that far. And if you start being swarmed by lats, you probably, or hats, whatever, you kind of want to change position. It's your position is blown. They know where you are. And especially if the rockets are starting to land close to you. If you can re-engage, do so, but you might want to get gone because they're going to slowly but surely start to get in that zeroing and they're eventually going to hit you. And if you're in a tracked vehicle, if they hit you, you are stuck there. You can't move. Then they can maneuver very easily on you because, again, you have to jump out and repair your tracks. If anyone's interested in this will be covered in a later workshop, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh my god, he's advertising himself. Bartok said you should always move if you're getting swarmed by lads. It's best to just always keep moving. Don't stay in the same spot for too long. Players and vehicles like to. There's a strategy of just reacting to whenever an armored piece is called. So always keep moving. Never be in the same spot. Giving your enemy the benefit of knowing where you are is always an advantage you don't want them to have. So always keep moving. Always have something scanning to maybe like infantry up ahead of you can call out a vehicle. Just put yourself in that position to give yourself that extra layer of cover. But yeah, never stay in the same spot for too long. An ID bike, a drone, or maybe just a lat team will come in and they can seriously neuter you. Again, you're not a tank, you are an IFE. They're not the same. Is there any other questions?
Alright, well, we can go just top to bottom. Chubbs, what's something you learned or something you may have already known that you thought was interesting that you got reminded of?
Well, I was only here for about the past 30 minutes, so I only got to see the last 3 vehicles. But other than that, yeah, learning the engine blocks where the ammo hit the ammo boxes and stuff. The past vehicles.
Oh yeah. Crick, I'm sure you're a veteran at this point, but what's something that you were reminded of that's interesting?
Apparently I learned that the 100mm anti-tank missile sucks on the CBL, whatever this is. Yeah, the ZBD, because I've never used that before.
Quick thing while I have everyone, if you check the chat for this voice channel, top right called community game, I have linked you 3 very good videos Mine has sent me if you are more curious about these 3 vehicles that we went over.
Oh, and I do have one comment about positioning. You could see me, I'm up by the 300-meter marker. Never do this. Never just sit here at the top of a ridge. somebody's got a tow or a Bartok on their team, you will die very quickly if you just sit here skylining.
What I just linked to in the same chat, in the same community game chat, is a massive sheet of all the damage outputs of all armored vehicles in the game, put together by a bunch of people and kept up to date by the same. Want to peruse it or use it in the future? It's very useful. It tells you a lot about new vehicles and older ones.
You're not knee deep. What do you got? Something you learned or something you already knew that you reminded of that's interesting?
The tracked versus the wheel. How tracked vehicles better off to engage the wheeled vehicle and stay away from other tracked vehicles. I thought that was interesting, and it built on Bartok's How to Kill Vehicles class that we did before.
Yeah, knowing the weak spots as someone that likes to run around with AT assets is such a big bonus. You know where to hit them, you know where to take them out, and that's just a big win. As my egg went over, now you know the engines of some of the more common vehicles that you'll see around, and just knowing that is oof.
Awesome. Pliers. Something you learned or something you already knew that was interesting?
I think the ammo racking on these was interesting. Usually don't go for that when I'm trying to destroy one, so it's good to know where they are.
Awesome. Suma?
That in fact that vehicles that I think are similar in fact have different guns that pierce differently, and you kind of need to play around that. That was interesting to me.
I feel really inferior right now. I feel like I don't know any of these vehicles now that I didn't even know there were this many. Actually, I'm starting to second guess my 1,000 hours in squad. Sorry, go ahead, Skeeter.
I've got one similar to that, but it's kind of the opposite. Some of the vehicles have the same cannons on. I didn't know that. I thought they were all different, but it seems like 3 or 4 of them have that 25 mil Browning.
Or 30.
I just want to add one thing. Actually, never mind. I forgot what I was going to say. Continue.
Don't a lot of vehicles have 30 millimeter too?
Yeah.
That might have been what I meant.
Most of the vehicles, however, have different 30 mils. Like the BTRs and BMPs 30 mils are different. I think the 2 30 mils on the Chinese vehicles are the same though.
Alright, Albert, what you got? Something that you learned or something that you may have already known, but it was interesting?
No, I didn't know anything about vehicles, only used armored vehicle once. But yeah, the interesting thing is the same as everybody. Where to shoot, how to shoot, and all that stuff.
Hell yeah. Alright, check. You're running out of new things to have learned, so either you're gonna script the bottom of the barrel or say something that's already been said.
It was interesting. I didn't realize any troop transport or anything that had troop transport capabilities, that if you target that area, you will do damage with specific guns to the troops in there. And so in the back, if you shoot at the back of one of the APCs, you can actually hurt the troops being transported.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Neither. Alright, Mad Maxwell.
Probably the ammo box is the most useful thing I learned. I didn't know that.
For sure. Skeeter, you got something else? Or are you good?
I think that's it.
Alright, Raiders. Something you already knew or something that was interesting?
I don't think he's still here.
I think Raiders AFK, yeah.
I don't think Raiders was here the whole time.
Yes,
yeah,
he's
AFK.
There's what about you, man?
I'm like pretty new to squads, so I think just having a really good overview of the different vehicles really helps me understand call routes, and then also make my call outs more accurate because I often struggle in describing vehicles or what. And also the fact that there are different strengths of ATGMs. I thought they were basically the same.
One thing to add, I remember what I was gonna say. A lot of people will tell you, if you look this up on YouTube, that it's best to engage an armored vehicle by first taking out its turret. That is garbage advice. Don't listen to it. That applies to vehicles with low damage like a BMP-2, where they will relatively do low damage to you with their 30 mil. So it is best if you are in a high armor vehicle like a Bradley to first just engage the turret and knock it out before moving to engage differently. It also works in some situations with the LAV. If you are behind them or get the first few shots off, knocking out the turret will greatly increase your chances of success in it. That's all I had to say. If anyone has any questions, DM me later or talk to me now. But I have nothing else to add. Bartok, to you.
No, I think we've covered the good stuff.
When is the
Thank you so
next
much,
class?
Totally has one. February? Like
Yeah,
next.
if you guys want to take a look at the Discord events, these aren't posted on the website, they're only posted on the Discord events. So if you go on top left, it'll say 17. Go and click on that and then scroll down. And then it looks like there is a helicopters overlay on the 4th. And then I think that's currently up for the workshops. I know that, as long as Minehe's voice is there, I know he wanted to do more vehicles over time, so look out for that. Bartok wanted to go teach people how to hunt and kill armor, but had to teach people how to shoot the lats first. So Bartok will be doing another course about actually hunting armor. And then I know that Assault wanted to do a squad leading in a One Life masterclass, so that's pretty dope. And then I believe Stalker wanted to cover some other things. So we had some people who are really excited to do workshops. So if you're a regular or staff and there's something that you're a subject matter expert in, by all means. All right. Well, let's all give Minehay a overwhelmingly embarrassing amount of gratitude for his time. Same with Bartok, and then let's go see the server.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank all of you for coming out to this.
Thank y'all for coming.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate
And for everybody that would like to learn some more, please join squadops.gg website and click on that Discord link.